my journey to vet school, I don't think went as smoothly as I would have liked. When I was in college at Miami University of Ohio, I knew that that was my path, but at the same time, I was around a lot of pre-med students, and they kind of swayed me towards maybe going to medical school. And so I spent some time in human medicine and shadowing, and it was actually a really good thing because I learned actually I don't want to be a doctor for humans. I really do want to be a doctor for animals. And so I spent a lot of time volunteering in different types of healthcare settings, and maybe not as much in a veterinary healthcare setting as I should have, because The Ohio State University actually had pretty high their requirements for a number of clinical hours that you had to get in were really, really high. And it turned out when I met with my advisor, I just didn't quite meet that number because I had such a diversity of experience. So we kind of sat down and I said, well, what should I do? And he said, well, why don't you try applying to some out-of-state schools? Let's see what happens. So I applied to a handful of out-of-state schools, ended up just getting one interview at the University of Tennessee. I went down, I'd been to Knoxville before, I had some experience there, and I had my interview, and I was the last interview of the day. I remember sitting very nervously for an extended period of time. I actually cried in my interview because I was so nervous. It wasn't tears of fear. It was like hot tears of I'm so nervous. And at the end, they said, it's okay. You did well, you did fine. But I just, I drove back up to Miami of Ohio. It was 4 hours away. And I was like, I'm not getting in. My life is over. But lo and behold, I get a letter. I remember walking across the quad at Miami University, and my mom sent me the letter, and I opened it and I called my mom, and I was just screaming because they let me in. I can't believe it. They let me in, which I still can't believe to this day. But I'm really fortunate and super proud grad of University of Tennessee. And I went there and graduated in 2010.
Oh, what an awesome story. I actually did interview at Tennessee as well. And I had such an amazing interview experience there. Everyone was so kind. And I ended up going to Auburn. It was my in-state school, so it was kind of hard to argue with the tuition prices. But yeah, I'm so glad that you had a good experience getting in, and it sounds like you must have had a good experience overall because you're still wearing the colors. So, and I like being able to reflect on your experience as a student yourself, because as someone who is interested in education, that might help you also think about, what was good, what could be better in, making a wonderful future for future veterinary students and veterinary technician students. So going through vet school, did you have an idea of how being a veterinarian would look like for you going in? Did that change? What was that like?
Yes, that changed a lot, and in a wonderful, wonderful way. And when I got to vet school, I was pretty dead set that I would be an equine veterinarian. I spent my childhood with horses. I rode hunter jumper equestrian. I actually went to nationals and rode in nationals instead of going to my college graduation. I was just really that horse girl, and in my heart I still am. And so that was my thought. Fortunately for me, at Tennessee, we did not track. So we got to do a little bit of everything. And I took a lot of courses in equine, and I also took a lot of small animal courses. And I started doing some courses in public health, just really tried to diversify my experience. And I also jumped into opportunities outside the classroom. And I have to say that was one of the best things that I did. And if I had to give any pieces of advice to students now, I would say do that. Don't spend all your time in class and in the library and studying. I hadn't had a lot of leadership roles in my past, and I was nervous about it and didn't really, a lot of imposter syndrome being in vet school. And I remember sitting in the first year classroom, and the second year student, who was the SAVMA representative, the student AVMA representative, came in and said, we need a new SAVMA representative. So who would like to do it? And, everybody said, oh, I'm too busy. I'm I'm studying so hard. Vet school is hard. And I kind of just looked around and nobody was raising their hands. I said, sure, I'll do it. And, through that experience, just a whole host of cascading events occurred. And so I'd say it was a combination of really diving into all the different areas of medicine, as well as these different leadership and experiential education opportunities that are really changed my whole trajectory. And when I was in fourth year, I was trying to decide between would I do an internship in mixed animal, so equine and small animal, or just small animal. And I ended up having a really fantastic conversation with the mentor who encouraged me to really consider going to small animal, because just, kind of talking it through, we said, that sounds like that's really where your heart is. And it truly was. And so I made the decision to pursue a small animal internship. And that was the way that my career went. And has taken multiple turns along the way. And I found myself in a position where if someone had told me now or then what I'd be doing now, I don't think that I would have believed them at all. So it's really fascinating to think about where veterinary medicine can take you. And I really am an advocate for experiencing a lot of different areas of the profession, networking, connecting, just seeing what's out there, because I never would have known that all of these things are possible.
Want more from Vet Life Reimagined? Yes, please. Well, check out the main page of Vet Life Reimagined or click on the next video.